In the 9th month, the first emperor was buried at Mount Li. Craftsmen were ordered to make crossbows and arrows primed to shoot at anyone who entered the tomb. Mercury was used to simulate the 100 rivers, the Yangtze, Yellow River, and the Great Sea, and set to flow mechanically. Above was a representation of the heavenly constellations, and below, the features of the land. March 29, 1974, Xi'an, China. A farmer named Yang Zifa discovered something strange underground while digging a well. There was a number of artifacts that looked like humans lined up in an underground cave. Seeing something unusual following Yang Zifa's report, the Chinese government conducted a massive excavation. With that, one of the greatest discoveries in archaeology, the terracotta warriors, was unearthed. It was confirmed that Qin Shi Huang's actual tomb is approximately 1 kilometer away from the terracotta warriors, and that the legendary emperor's tomb does exist. The actual tomb's excavation, however, has not even started since its discovery in 1974. It is impossible to conduct an excavation using our current technology without damaging the tomb because it is far too large. We shall pass this task to future generations for a perfect excavation. Former Premier of China, Zhu Enlai. Aside from this statement from the government, there was another problem. This problem was, of course, mercury. Having sought immortality throughout his entire life, Qin Shi Huang believed that the answer lay within mercury. On top of that, his desire for mercury continued even after his death. According to Shi Ji, there were rivers and seas made of mercury flowing inside his tomb. However, since Sima Xuan had never visited the tomb, modern scholars have speculated that the Mercury Sea is nothing but a fictional expression or a legend. The actual findings following the discovery of the tomb were shocking. In 1982, analysis from the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences showed that the mercury level of the burial mound was 7 times higher than the soil of nearby regions. Moreover, that number increased exponentially as the soil continued to be dug out for excavation work. Mercury is inherently very volatile. The fact that a 2,000-year-old ancient tomb contained such a high level of mercury suggests a high possibility that Qin Shi Huang actually constructed a large pool of mercury inside. However, many scholars have been skeptical about the Mercury Sea. This is because it would be impossible to create such a thing with the technology at the time. In 2016, a team of Chinese archaeologists in charge of investigating the tomb announced surprising research results. It was revealed that there is a very high probability of a massive drainage system existing on the floor of the tomb. The team also speculated that a large amount of mercury had been transported from Qianyang, Jiangxi, which is located approximately 100 kilometers away from the tomb. Following this, scholars explored other possibilities. They speculated about the methods used to create the crossbows that fire automatically upon detecting enemy invasion, as well as the ceiling modeled after the sky. This was, of course, if the artificial pool of mercury recorded by Sima Qian inside the tomb actually existed. Not a single one of the modern scholars could come up with a design method and plan for the automatic detection crossbows in underworld sky. The excavation of the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor is a great achievement desired by not only China, but also the entire world. However, due to the Chinese government's strong stance on this matter, an excavation has not yet been conducted. Skeptics have also suggested a different hypothesis on why the Chinese government refused to excavate the tomb. Firstly, there's a possibility the tomb has already been robbed. There are 2 ancient records suggesting this. Following his occupation of Qianyang, Jiang Yu deployed 300,000 people to dig up the tomb of Qin Shi Huang and transported the excavated treasure for 30 days. A shepherd went to a pit to seek out a lost sheep, and upon finding Qin Shi Huang's coffin, he burned it. These are actual, shocking excerpts from ancient records stating that the tomb was robbed and the coffin was burned. People have even argued that the reason why the height of the tomb is much lower than what was in the records is not due to erosion over time, but structural collapse caused by theft. The conspiracy theory is that the Chinese government knew that the historical tomb receiving global attention had already been robbed, and this led to them resealing the tomb to hide the truth. This is not the only existing hypothesis. The second emperor said it would be inappropriate for the concubines of the late emperor who have no sons to be out free, and ordered that they should accompany the dead, and a great many died. After the burial, it was suggested that it would be a serious breach if the craftsmen who constructed the mechanical devices and knew of its treasures were to divulge those secrets. Therefore, after the funeral ceremonies had completed and the treasures hidden away, the inner passageway was blocked and the outer gate lowered, immediately trapping all the workers and craftsmen inside. According to Shi Ji, the number of slaves involved in the construction of the tomb at the time was as many as 700,000 people. The number of people increases even further if we include the concubines and the craftsmen. They were locked up and buried for the sake of the emperor in secrecy, so the first thing you'd see upon opening the tomb would be shocking traces of a mass burial instead of a marvelous historical relic. Conspiracy theorists have argued that it is entirely possible for both hypotheses to be true, and that China is hiding it for the sake of their historical image. However, Chinese scholars have stated that there is no evidence that back up these hypotheses, and in fact that the tomb could be fully preserved thanks to the records of Qiang Yu. Rumors about Qiang Yu having completely plundered the tomb enabled it to avoid the eyes of tomb raiders, resulting in the treasures and relics safely being stored to this day. The mausoleum of the first Qin emperor is considered to be the greatest and most marvelous of all the tombs discovered in human history. Most scholars have stated that even the tomb of Tutankhamun, which is often considered to be the greatest tomb to ever exist, is no match for the tomb of Qin Shi Huang. What other undiscovered secrets could be waiting inside? On top of the 7 wonders of the world, the mausoleum of the first Qin emperor should be deemed to be the 8th. Thanks for watching Strange Night.